This is CBN NewsWatch.
It is Tuesday, November 10th. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, the battle for the White House not over yet as the Justice Department now authorizes looking into allegations of voter fraud. A coronavirus vaccine, hopes are high, but how would it work? And exactly how effective will it be? We're going to talk to our CBN News medical reporter, Lori Johnson. Totalitarianism in America, could it really happen here? We're going to hear from those who warn, yes, it could. And remembering Bishop Harry Jackson, the outspoken pastor who worked to help other Christian leaders improve their communities. All those stories and more are ahead in this edition of CBN NewsWatch. I want to begin with the ongoing legal battles and investigations into the presidential election. Attorney General William Barr has authorized the Justice Department to look into what he's called substantial allegations of voter irregularities. And some leading Republicans, including Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, are supporting President Trump's efforts to investigate the voting issues.
This election is not over. Far from it.
Critics say there is no evidence of fraud, but the Trump team disagrees and say the process should play out. There would have to be enough evidence to show not only voter fraud or irregularities, but also to prove there was enough fraud to change the outcome in a given state. Meanwhile, former Vice President Joe Biden is moving ahead with transition plans to take over as president. The Supreme Court hears a third major legal challenge to the Affordable Care Act today. The suit against the law came from Texas, and it has the support of the Trump administration and top Republicans. Continuing on the path to assume the presidency, Joe Biden will be giving a speech about the law today as well. More than 20 million Americans depend on the ACA for health coverage. Challengers say it should be struck down because Republicans removed the individual mandate. Justices will now decide whether that makes the entire law unconstitutional. The Supreme Court upheld the law in 2012 and then again in 2015. A final ruling is expected by next June. Also on the subject of health, turning now to the coronavirus and the race to find a vaccine and a major breakthrough. As we told you yesterday, Pfizer is reporting promising trial results that appear to be more than 90% effective. The news is raising hopes and the stock market. Jenna Browder brings us that story now from Washington.
Pfizer says it's already ramping up production of their vaccine, the American drug maker and a German partner, hoping to be the first to produce and distribute a safe and effective inoculation against the coronavirus.
The vaccine was proven to be very efficacious, overwhelmingly, and that was big news for me as well.
Not very many people expected it would be as high as that. A 90% efficacy just is extraordinary.
The drug is still in clinical trials, but Pfizer says early results show it appears to be about 90% effective in patients. And if approved by the end of the year, it expects to produce enough for about 25 million people. But that's for people around the world and not just in the U.S.
Look that way for me.
The first to get the vaccine, healthcare workers and groups like seniors who are most at risk. While Pfizer is now planning to ask the FDA for emergency use authorization of the drug as soon as next week, it could be late spring before it's distributed to the general population. But some tough months could still be ahead, the U.S. reporting more than 10 million cases and 5 days in a row with more than 100,000 new cases. And News Now's Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, Ben Carson, has tested positive. Meanwhile, Joe Biden has put together his own coronavirus task force and Monday called on all Americans to wear masks.
There's a need for bold action to fight this pandemic. We're still facing a very dark winter.
President Trump and his supporters are questioning the timing of Pfizer's announcement. The company's CEO, though, says it had nothing to do with the election and that Pfizer didn't take any federal dollars for its research to keep the vaccine from being politicized.
I wanted to liberate our scientists from any bureaucracy that could come by accepting money.
Wall Street reacted positively to the news Monday, the stock market shooting up 1,600 points at one point before settling back to a gain of 836 points at closing, its best daily increase in 5 months. In Washington, Jenna Browder, CBN News.
Our CBN News medical reporter Lori Johnson is here now. So, of course, naturally, lots of excitement over this vaccine. the question, when can people start getting shots?
Cut to the chase,
Yes.
Ephraim. You know, when can I get my shot? Put it in
Yes.
there. So it looks like the United States government has put in an order for 100 million doses. When will those be produced? We know that between 15 and 20 million will be produced probably by the end of this year, and those have already been allocated. Plans have already been made. Who gets the vaccines first? First people, frontline healthcare workers, and then other high-risk people, mostly people who are in nursing homes, who are older and have these pre-existing conditions. So what happens is you get a shot, and then 3 weeks later, you get a booster shot. So it takes a while for the immune system to build up. So I'm just preparing people that, you know, it takes a while. It's going to take a while for the entire country to be inoculated. We don't know how long immunity lasts. That's a huge question. It could be as short as 3 or 4 months, or it could be years. So that's something that remains to be seen. And this 90% effectiveness, that could change, because remember, the vaccine is still in trials. Right. So more data still needs to come in. The safety data is not totally complete so far. Safety measures look good, but there still needs to be more research done. So we're not across the finish line yet, but all the signs so far look fantastic.
What about the other vaccines that are in phase 3 trials? Any word on exactly how they're doing?
There are 3 other vaccines that are almost at the finish line. Moderna is probably going to be next. Moderna and Pfizer have very similar vaccines. Both Moderna and Pfizer are made with messenger RNA, which should come as a relief to a lot of our viewers, because these are not made with the viruses. A lot of people are afraid of a live virus or even a dead virus. That's not how these are made. Because they're messenger RNA vaccines, however, they have to be kept at really cold temperatures. I'm talking 112 degrees below zero, like the South Pole in the middle of winter. So dry ice, obviously a huge factor, and they have to be kept that cold from the moment they're made until they're injected into people. So that's, but these things have already been worked out logistically. And then we've got the Johnson & Johnson and the AstraZeneca vaccines that are also in the very end of their phase 3 trials. So we will likely see more than one vaccine approved, which would be good news, because not only for the United States, 350 million people, but we need to share this with the entire world.
That's right. And even after that, we're still talking weeks, months before people can actually get access to them. So what are some natural measures that people can still be taking even today to avoid getting COVID-19 and other diseases? Right.
So we've got 2 things going on here. Try not to get infected with the virus. But if you do, have a healthy immune system to fight it off. We know that so many people don't even have symptoms. That's because they have that healthy immune system. So as we head into Thanksgiving and the holidays, I would just like to say we need to try to be very careful. Wear those masks. Try to stay socially distant. I don't know how people are going to do that in homes unless they have giant homes, you know, sitting around a table and eating. How are you going to wear a mask? Folks just need to take precautions. But if you do become infected, having that strong immune system is going to help. And one of the best ways to strengthen your immune system is to have a healthy gut. And this week on Healthy Living, I interviewed a doctor who just wrote a book about fiber called Fiber Fueled, and he talks about all different kinds of ways to strengthen your gut, and it not only helps protect against COVID-19, but all other kinds of diseases and infections. Remember, this is cold and flu season.
Indeed it is, and you can see more from Lori on Healthy Living. And of course, you can watch that on the CBN News Channel. It begins this evening at 9:30 Eastern. Coming up, it is a danger very few Americans would think possible in this country, but some are sounding an alarm about totalitarianism, and they say it could happen here. So how could that be possible? We're going to take a look when we come back.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep as the world watches from the outside.
It's a big diplomatic tug-of-war here in the Middle East.
Go inside the story with Jerusalem Dateline.
Israeli archaeologists are talking about a discovery that could change the thinking about the Temple Mount.
Join CBN Jerusalem Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell and get the biblical perspective on the events shaping the world.
What starts in Israel then ends up going to other places.
Watch Jerusalem Dateline Friday night at 9:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Has the power to influence weight loss, boost your immune system, and improve brain function.
We've seen an explosion of data on the role of the gut microbiome in health.
The free Build a Better Gut booklet reveals the latest information about the gut microbiome. You'll discover how your gut affects the rest of your health.
The gut microbiome has been linked to depression and cancer and heart disease.
Learn how to build a stronger, healthier gut.
The microbiome, if it's in good composition, are really protecting us all the time from more invasive things.
Get the Build a Better Gut booklet, free from the Christian Broadcasting Network. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut.
You need to make sure that your microbes are working with you, not against you.
And if you order online, you'll get immediate access to the Build a Better Gut series, a digital copy of the booklet, and related bonus material. Build a Better Gut today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut for your free copy.
And welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. Violence in the streets and a cancel culture shattering freedom of speech, marginalizing people of faith, and shaming those who don't conform to a particular agenda. Is America headed towards totalitarianism? And if so, what can we do to stop it? Gary Lane brings us this ominous warning of the dangers that may lie ahead.
When many of us think about totalitarianism, George Orwell's 1984 or the former Soviet Union often come to mind. Government inflicts terror and suffering on its people to force them to conform. The senior editor of the American Conservative contends America is fast becoming what he calls a soft totalitarian state. Rod Dreher's premise is featured in the new book, Live Not by Lies, a manual for Christian dissidents.
Ours is going to be a more soft version where they use the infliction of economic pain and marginalization and shaming to force Christians out of the public square and to compel us to conform with left-wing ideology. And the fact that it's soft does not mean it is any less totalitarian.
Just after World War II, German-born philosopher Hannah Arendt wrote that loneliness and social alienation had been the major precursors to the rise of totalitarianism, both in Nazi Germany and in Bolshevik Russia. Dreher says today social media is a major driver behind isolation and unease, especially among young people.
It has made them desperate for something to solve their problem of alienation and their anxiety. I think that this is opening them up to the acceptance of a false idol that will be totalitarian, that will tell them, we can take care of all your problems, we can fix it if you will only say yes to us. That's what happened in Russia, and that's what happened in Germany, and that's what's coming here.
And those who advocate Judeo-Christian values and reject the lies of the new American leftist state will be marginalized and singled out for persecution.
Conservative Christians and their churches and institutions are seen as an obstacle to progress. If you stand against LGBT rights, for example, if you stand against abortion rights, if you stand against critical race theory, you are a problem.
Alienated and stressed over COVID-19 restrictions, American youth are readily taking to the streets to demand social change. A radical doctrine called critical race theory is inflaming their frustrations. Ann Hendershot is director of the Veritas Center for Ethics in Public Life at the Franciscan University of Steubenville. She is author of the new book, The Politics of Envy. Professor Hendershot feels critical race theory divides Americans by promoting envy.
I see a huge increase in rhetoric surrounding envy, encouraging envy. And I think it's pretty evil. I mean, I think your listeners, Christians, know that it's a serious sin, that envy is one of the 7 deadly sins.
Hendershot says politicians foment hatred and resentment by publicly promoting the divisive race doctrine.
When you hear a politician like Mayor de Blasio in New York City say there's plenty of money in New York City, it's just in the wrong hands, he's implying that that's your money that they have, and we need to take it back.
All Christians ought to be against racism. We are. But critical race theory is something very different. It draws a line between good and evil, between the races, and alienates the races and turns us against each other when we ought to be standing together.
And instead of resorting to harsh tactics to control people, Dreyer sees the future U.S. government taking a softer, less violent approach.
We are going to see something develop in this country like the Chinese have today, the social credit system, where they monitor everything Chinese citizens do. They get all the data from their computers, from the internet, and so forth, and they assign them a rating. The more socially positive you are from a communist point of view, the higher your rating, the more your privileges.
Attending church would lower your social credit score, and a lower rating means fewer privileges like sending your child to college. Dreyer feels it doesn't matter who is elected president, because neither Biden nor Trump will be able to reverse the course. He says we're living through the birth pangs of a cultural revolution.
This sort of thing is marching through all the institutions. It's marching through churches. It's marching through universities, seminaries, corporations. And we Christians have got to be prepared for it.
By building networks among churches to endure persecution.
Hope for the best, but we also have to remember ours is a religion of martyrdom. Those who suffered and even died for the faith, they received a crown of glory. That may well be our calling, and we need to accept it as believers.
Gary Lane, CBN News.
Still ahead, a peace deal announced today to end the deadly fighting between Azerbaijan and Armenia. We're going to have the details right after this.
I am Region's first ROTC graduate student.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm Ephraim Graham. Welcome to Studio 5.
Get on it.
All that's new and now in the world of uplifting entertainment. Celebrity interviews.
There's a higher contribution I will make.
Musical performances.
I'll give you my best praise.
Plus movie and TV news.
See it and be uplifted.
On Studio 5. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern at cbn.com/Studio 5.
How'd you like to get a redo on your health, on your body, on your arteries, so you could have the energy you had 20 years ago? The great news is you can. I'm Dr. Mike Roizen, chair of the Wellness Institute at the Cleveland Clinic. I've written 4 New York Times bestsellers. But even better than having to read all that, you can listen to this DVD and watch it. Protect your heart? Yes, you can. Here's how.
Go to CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000 for your free copy of Protect Your Heart. Let the medical experts show you their new discoveries on how to avoid heart disease and even reverse it. Easy steps to uncover the hidden dangers in your medicine cabinet, reduce stress, and get a complete do-over for your health. Call 1-800-700-7000. That's 1-800-700-7000. Or go to CBN.com to claim your free copy of Protect Your Heart.
Armenia and Azerbaijan, along with Russia, signed an agreement today to end the 6-week-old war between Armenia and Azerbaijan. As Chris Mitchell reports, the deal stops the latest round of fighting in a conflict that has actually lasted for decades.
Armenia's prime minister called the deal incredibly painful for me and for our people. On Facebook, he said the decision was based on deep analysis of the combat situation and warned the whole of Nagorno-Karabakh would have been lost. The decades-old conflict reignited in September over Nagorno-Karabakh. Azerbaijan claims the area, although most living there are Armenian and part of one of the oldest Christian communities in the world. The disputed area sits between the two countries. When the Soviet Union fell in 1991, this self-governed region of Azerbaijan voted to join Armenia. The conflict pitted often friendly powerhouses against each other. Turkey backed Azerbaijan and provided military support, while both Russia and Iran sided with Armenia. One report said the Armenian army was outnumbered 5-1. In Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan, the people celebrated, and its president called it a great victory and a capitulation by Armenia. The deal allows Azerbaijan to keep areas of Nagorno-Karabakh it seized during the war, and Armenia agreed to leave several other areas in the next few weeks. Russian President Vladimir Putin announced Russia would provide nearly 2,000 peacekeepers along the front lines. In the past few days, Azerbaijan captured one major city and was advancing towards the capital of Nagorno-Karabakh. Thousands of Armenians fled the area, many with nowhere to go.
What can a woman feel without a house, without belongings, without anything?
In the capital of Armenia, protesters stormed the parliament buildings, vowed to keep fighting, and said their leaders betrayed them.
We don't agree with the decision. We will not give them away. We will fight. And we don't want this. We don't want the government in our city and in our motherland.
The fighting pitted Christian Armenians and mostly Muslim Azeris against each other. CBN's Chuck Holton recently filed this report from the front lines.
Behind me, you can see the effects of the Azeri bombardment that has been hitting this city since September 27th. Of the 150,000 people who live in this area, most of them have already had to flee, but there are still tens of thousands of people that are staying here, sleeping in their cellars, in their basements, and listening to the daily barrage of random artillery that's falling on this city.
Some Armenians told Holton they saw the war as an existential threat.
They won't occupy our territory and clean this territory from Armenians.
Thousands died in the 6-week war, and given the decades-long history of the region, it's likely it may not be the end of the conflict. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Coming up, honoring and remembering a beloved Christian leader, Bishop Harry Jackson Jr. We're going to bring you that story when we come back. Please stay with us.
Hey, if you're tired and exhausted all day, you can't think clearly, and you really just need a cup or even a pot of coffee to get through your day, then join me, Dr. Josh Axe, for this new series where I'm going to teach you how to transform your diet and use essential oils and supplements to get a better night's sleep.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 to get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
It's about the competition.
I kind of put that pressure on myself, and I think people had expectations.
It's about overcoming.
We use this phrase all the time, keep chopping, keep practicing hard.
It's about going the distance.
You know, I think as a father, it's my job, to lead. Just be the best husband and father I can be.
Watch Going the Distance with Sean Brown Saturday night at 7:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
Prophecy thousands of years old.
We were called to be a light to the world.
Being fulfilled today. Discover how. Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life. Just call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he have, which color he is. This is what I'm doing.
See how the people of Israel are fulfilling prophecy.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
By sharing their knowledge.
In Africa, in Asia, in South America, in East Europe.
And their love.
This is how we work. This is us.
Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
And welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. We are mourning the loss of a beloved Christian leader. Bishop Harry Jackson Jr., senior pastor of Hope Christian Church in Beltsville, Maryland, died Monday morning. He was the founder and chairman of the High Impact Leadership Coalition, which educates and empowers church leaders on ways to improve their communities. He received his MBA from Harvard, and he was a fierce advocate of faith and biblical principles in the world of politics, often appearing on television. He was also an evangelical advisor to President Donald Trump and invited to the White House on numerous occasions. CBN News learned of Bishop Harry Jackson's death from his closest friends, including Alveda King, niece of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The church has asked for prayers for the family and to respect their privacy at this time. You can learn more about Bishop Harry Jackson and his remarkable life and career at cbnnews.com. Time now for your Tuesday Tweetable, and here's a message I hope will encourage you, and you will take a moment to post tag tweet and share it with others. There is no mistake great enough to keep you from the loving arms of the Father. His open arms of grace are open to receive you, forgive you, and help you to move forward. With that word, I encourage you to make this a terrific Tuesday. Well, that is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. We thank you so much for watching. I want to remind you, you can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel at any time. You can also find them online at cbnnews.com. We would love to hear from you and know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can email us, newswatch@cbn.com. And, of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Make it a terrific Tuesday. We'll see you right back here, same time tomorrow. Goodbye, everybody, and God bless.